Welcome to the Collaborative. I'm your host, Sydney Walker, along with Ryan Ballas. Today, we are joined by SportsCenter anchor Neil Everett. Everett is the co-anchor of the West Coast edition of SportsCenter alongside Stan Barrett. He came to ESPN after working for 15 years for various affiliates in Honolulu, most recently KGMB TV, where he was a sports director and weekday anchor. Everett graduated from the University of Oregon with a degree in journalism. Super stoked to have you here. Thank you.
Super stoked to be here. Super stoked to say stoked because I haven't said stoked in a long time.
So first up, we have Sid's This or That UO edition. So first up, Starbucks or Dutch Bros?
I would never walk into Starbucks if you couldn't pay me to walk into Starbucks. The guy who owns Starbucks sold out the Seattle Supersonics, and when he did that, that was the last caramel macchiato I ever had. So I'm
that's still my drink of choice there.
Yeah, well, listen, we can still hang. We're just not having coffee together.
Fair enough. Tracktown Pizza or Doco?
I don't know the second one, and I love Tracktown. Love it.
You have to try Doco next time you're in Eugene.
All right. Yeah, I'll have to get familiar with that.
EMU or Night Library?
Okay, so this is a good story. So my wife took me on a tour, or we walked through the campus years later. So this would have been, I've known her for 12 years. So this was in the last 12 years. Let's say it was 10 years ago. She took me on a tour through the campus, and she pointed out the library. And I said, "This is the first time I've seen this building." So I've never went to the library once when I was there, and only saw it many years after I left. And what was the other place you said?
The EMU, or Memorial Union.
No, I'm not familiar with that. Now, was that there back then?
I don't know, but it's there now, so we'll just get past it.
I know the bookstore. I know Rennie's.
There you go. That works.
That's the one that matters.
Yeah. All right. I'm doing good so far. I'm putting a good academic spin on this.
And last but not least, Matthew Knight Arena or Autzen Stadium?
Woo! Oh, man. I mean, I'll just take Pat Kilkenny baseball field for 600, Alex. Wow, listen, I'm not gonna. That's like asking me to pick which one of my dogs I like best. I love them both, so that's too close to the heart. I love Saturdays at Autzen, and any day they're playing the men or the women at Matt Knight. I'm all over that too. But when I was there, it was the MacArthur Court. So that's probably my real answer. And when I was there, Autzen Stadium was not the place to be. The Autzen Stadium parking lot was the place to be. But going into the game, there wasn't much there.
So your first love was with Gonzaga, but you followed in your parents' footsteps and ended up at the University of Oregon. Can you describe how those Oregon roots are with you to this day?
Well, I grew up in Spokane, so that's why the affiliation with Gonzaga, because that was the first college team I followed, because we had no college football team per se. We had no pro football team per se, but we had a college basketball team. And my stepdad was a high school basketball coach, so I was very much into Gonzaga. So that's how that happened. I went to Willamette for 2 years, and then I decided to transfer to Oregon. My grandpa played in the 1920 Rose Bowl for the Ducks. My mom went to Oregon. My dad went to Oregon. So I think it was only a matter of time before I realized I was not accomplishing what life intended for me at Willamette, and I moved down to Eugene.
So you've been all across the country, from Connecticut to Hawaii, all the way back to Los Angeles, where you've worked in a variety of positions, both internally for different athletics programs and also on the media side of sports. How did that experience with each other affect you, and what was your biggest takeaway from it?
Well, I needed the gig. That's why I got into TV. I needed to make more money. So I really enjoyed the athletic administration aspect because it kept me around kids. I worked for a cool AD. I got to do a lot of writing. I got to be a part of the games in a kind of a PR kind of way. And then the television is, that's kind of, that's an expressive point of space to be as well. So the TV was fun because, again, it's the writing that I enjoy. Sports is fine. It's not that heavy a lifting. And then and then the thing just, it just kind of evolved into what it evolved into. It wasn't something I ever planned. And I would have been just as happy spending my whole career in Hawaii working in athletic administration. I probably wouldn't have as nice a car had I done that. But the TV thing worked out well, and I've had a very, very blessed life because of it, and I'm a very lucky man. I mean, as we've already discovered, I wasn't burning it up as a student at Oregon, so I'm really lucky to have found the life that I've found.
All I know is that I can get off this phone call after this, tell my mom that Neil Everett never went to the library, and then I can give her that synopsis, and I'll never have to go again. It'll be totally okay. So I do appreciate that one.
When I see that 541 number come onto my phone that I don't know who it is, I'm gonna go, oh God, that's Ryan's mom. I'm not answering that.
Hey, it'll be 520. It'll be from Southern Arizona. So
all right, that call is not getting answered.
Yeah, just decline it. Neil, you're really known to bring for your ability to bring energy to all the different stories that you cover. How do you do this when it may not be necessarily a story that you want to cover or that you think is super important? And also, especially in a time where there may not be sports to cover like we've gone through the past couple months.
Well, I just think storytelling is kind of a lost art, and that's what I really enjoy about this. I'm not as huge a sports fan as I am talking about sports, like, or making it fun or making it interesting. Like, I don't sit around on Sundays and watch the NFL, but now if I come into work on Tuesday and I got to write an NFL story, this will be fun. I can figure something out to write. So I think there's a lot of people out there that'll watch ESPN / SportsCenter if we just ran a test tube on it, they just sit there and go, so I want to write something that makes you think, I'm going to have to write about Tommy Heinsohn tonight. Now, you guys probably don't know who Tommy Heinsohn is, or maybe a little bit. Maybe you know that he's like a basketball analyst, but before that he was a basketball coach. Before that he was a great basketball player, and he was 86 years old, and he's really one of the legendary players in the NBA, and a legendary coach and a legendary analyst, and he died today. And so I'm writing something on his, I'm writing something about him. And aside from the fact that it's because he passed away, but he lived 86 years, that to me is something I want to write, where you guys are sitting at home and Jack goes, I never heard of this Tommy Heinsohn guy, and he ends up Googling him because I've created enough interest within your brain to say I want to know more about this guy. Or you'll go, Ryan, you'll call your mom up and go, hey man, mom, did you know there's only 4 guys who are in the Hall of Fame as a player and a coach in basketball, and Tom Heinsohn is one of them? So that's the type of thing that's what gets my juice going in this job.
Awesome, thank you.
You bet.
And you mentioned your work at Hawaii Pacific University, where you were the SID and assistant athletic director. After those roles, you found your way to ESPN. How did you know it was time for you to make a transition in your career?
I didn't. I would still be in Hawaii, but ESPN. I had a guy contact me. He said, "Hey, I want to represent you," and I said, "Dude, I'm fine. I'm in Hawaii, so don't bother me." And then before the call ended, I decided, you know what? I'm going to tell this guy, hey, give me an interview at ESPN, because 1, he won't, and then he won't bother me anymore. But 2, if he does, well, then maybe there's something here. And so that's really, you guys are all young people. That's really, you have to determine where your golden ring is. Okay. And at that moment, I decided that I was going to reach for ESPN. I damn near separated my shoulder, because I never thought of reaching that high. I just didn't have that. I didn't have that kind of ambition. I didn't dream about a future of working at SportsCenter. I worked in local television, but I never equated what I did on, Saturday at 6 and 10 for 3 minutes in Hawaii. I never equated that to doing that on a big stage like SportsCenter. So so Cindy, it was completely unplanned, but I threw it out there, and again, like I said, very blessed, that it ended up rolling my way, and now I've been here 20 years. So
That's awesome. That's really good advice, as some people in here are looking to make their next career move.
yeah, well, don't never sell yourself short, because you're the only one who can sell yourself. So if you want to sell yourself short, then expect to finish short. But I think one of the worst things in life is to, I'm almost 60 years old now. It's, to look back on your life and go like, man, I wish I could do that over. Like I got things I wish I could do over, but telling that guy, hey, give me an interview at ESPN, that's not one of them, because that worked out all right.
Like we talked about, you're really known for your storytelling and your ability to come at these stories from a variety of different angles. And you spoke on how storytelling is a lost art, but how important would you emphasize that this skill is? And what would be some tips giving from you to some younger journalists about storytelling?
Well, I just think you first you got to have your own voice. Like nobody wants to hear another me. Like nobody wants you to go, hey, I want to be like you. No, be like you. Okay. We don't need more of me. We need one of you, and we need one of me, and we need one of her, and we need one of, boom. So the first thing is develop your own voice, and whatever that is, and I don't, and by voice, I mean, not just the tone of your voice and that, but the message you're delivering, the consistency of, hey, there's Neil, he's this, hey, quiet, this might be a pretty good story. This guy tells pretty good stories. You know what I mean? Or, hey, this guy's funny. Watch out. This guy's doing a highlight. Watch, he's going to say bartender Jack. You got to know how to write. You can't put it's when it should be there. You know what I mean? Just small things like that. It's like, like a resume, like, like when we get I get a resume, like when I've been in position to have to hire somebody, it's like, I get a folded resume. I'm like, you're out. You know what I mean? You get a resume with a typo, you're out. You get a 3-page resume. It's like, seriously, what? No. It's like, you got to be tight, and you got to deliver your message, and you got to be memorable. And so, you got to take the classes that help you write better, or that challenge you to write. That make you maybe write about something you don't want to write about, because it's like, wow, if I can write about Shakespeare, God, I can write about anything. Because that was killing me. So you just got to go at it, and plus I just think we're born with something that we can do well. My mom was an English teacher. The old man who raised me was a basketball coach. So this is the environment I grew up in, and I was a little 8-year-old Neil. I wanted to write. All I wanted to do was read Sports Illustrated and grow up to work for Sports Illustrated. So it's kind of in your DNA. Like there's something you can do. And then you got to chase it, and then we go back to the ring, and you got to have some luck. I mean, you got to have some luck, man. I mean, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. You got to have luck, and you got to manufacture some luck too. Sometimes you got to go to meetings or do things that you're like, do I really want to do that? And then you end up meeting the guy who gives you your next job. So those are the types of things I think of with that question.
And lastly, for those of us who are still in school or just getting started in our career, what would be your one piece of advice for building a sustainable career like yours?
You got to stay focused, and because you're gonna take some wrong exits, and it's how far off that road you travel. Because the farther you go off the path is right, the deeper and darker you get, the harder it is to get back on the paved road. And that follows you from where you guys are now to where I am now. I'm still gripping the wheel to keep on the right road at times. So that's number one, because you get into the dark, you got to stay in the light. That's the answer there. You got to stay in the light, and you got to challenge yourself. You got to understand you're probably going to get fired at some point in your life. I've been fired. So, and that's not the end, that's not a testament to you unless you really blew it. It's more a testament to whoever fired you that they really blew it. You have to have confidence, but you can't be overconfident. You know, you got to carry yourself like a pro, but you got to have your head on the swivel to pick up any ideas you can along the way. But I think the most important thing is you got to stay in the light as much as possible, because that's the only way to succeed. You know, nobody, you know, it's a grind in the dark, and you don't want to grind it like that.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. I appreciate your sense of humor and insights. It was really great getting to chat with you.
Thanks for reaching out, and anytime I can do anything for you guys, don't hesitate to call me.
Thank
Go
you so
Ducks.
much,
Thank you so
Neil.
much.
Go
Bye.
Ducks.